Hello and welcome to the Scratching Post, where we discuss all things relating to the greatest team of all, the Geelong Football Club. My name is Brian Cobbock, and with me is another that bleeds blue and white, Luke Young. Hello, Luke.
How you going, man?
I am great. Tonight's topics include what went wrong against the Bombers, our concerning ruck situation, our thoughts on changes for this week, and tips for the match. So, Luke, what happened at the MCG against the Bombers?
Wow. Yeah, we come up against a Bombers outfit that had been thoroughly riled up, I think, by the week previously, which you actually picked last week. I went confident until we won by 10 goals and got that sorely wrong. I think our biggest problem against the Bombers was our midfield setup. We've got great attacking midfielders, and the way we play, we set up so that we trust one player to win the ball in the contest, and the other players stand around ready for the flick out, and so they can move it on quickly. But without Scooter Selwood in the team, we don't have any defensive midfielders. So when the opposition wins so many tap-outs, which we'll come on to later, we struggle to stop these run-ons, I think. So I think that Scott Selwood is vitally important to us, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
Provides a balance.
Yeah. Look, I actually had a chat with my dad about this, and he pointed out that, Ablett, Dangerfield, Duncan, they're all great ball winners and great ball users and attacking midfielders, but they don't necessarily lay as many tackles as you want, and Gaz doesn't really lay any tackles, Yeah. So I think that's where it went wrong against the Bombers, and we were shell-shocked, and before we knew it, we were 7 goals down, and there's no real coming back from that. So that was my take.
Yeah, no, I agree on the defensive midfield situation. I think they're trying to get George Hall-Smith to play that role, but I just don't think he's up to it. But for me, it was more about what went right for the Bombers. As I mentioned last week, they sacked Mark Neild, and the amount of times that respond after a coach gets sacked, it astounds me. So that was one thing that went right for the Bombers. Also, they brought an elite level of intensity, and they broke records with their defensive pressure on a lot of statistics. So when you're bringing that sort of pressure, you're going to win more games than you lose. Let's also not forget that they actually finished 7th last year and played finals. This is a decent team, and no one expected them to play as poorly as what they have so far. And I think they finally played as we expect them to, and unfortunately it was just against us. So that's where I think it was that we're out-pressured.
Do you think they're a decent team, or do you think that they played above themselves last year? Look, they were good last week, but they've been pretty crap this year.
No, they were good. Last year. Like without Hurley and Danaher, we should have still beaten them. They're two massive outs for them, and Danaher's been down. But mainly it's been him in front of goals. He's still been good up the ground. I thought they just, the combination of them losing the coach means they lifted. And you could see that with the Dyson Heppel tackles and Tip and Woody. Like they just pressured us all around the ground. However, there was a couple of positives I got out of the game, and that was Crammer. He's looking a lot better and sharper. He's contesting in the air and tackling, so that was good. The defender Stewart, he keeps going from strength to strength. And our midfield has a lot of improvement to come. So I think once that does click, and it will, it just has to, we will be formidable. And the other positive from the weekend was that Hawthorn lost. Yes. So after a bad weekend to watch Brisbane turn that on, that was pretty good.
Just on through Henry, I'm super pleased with how he played. Actually, I was relatively happy when we got him, but then I wasn't too sure how good he was. I hadn't really watched him much at the Bulldogs, and then I saw him in his first game, and look, I think he's going to struggle. But then the last 2 games he's played, he's been great. He's been getting up the ground and taking grabs, and he's been a real link man, which has been fantastic to see.
He has. Yes, it's also his tackling as well. He is tackling in the forward line.
Yeah.
So that's been pleasing too. So
it's a bit of a feel-good story, really, for a bloke that's been through a lot of shit. It's good to see him playing some good footy and feeling comfortable, obviously.
Yep, totally agree with you. But I think one of the things that we're going to touch on as well is our concerning ruck situation. So for me, this is our biggest issue. Considering most premiership teams have at least a competent ruckman, this needs to be remedied and remedied quick. This, however, is not a recent concern. I've listed the ruckman we've drafted or brought to the club since we acquired Ottens. So Hamish McIntosh from North Melbourne, Dawson Simpson's drafted, Padraig Lacey, Peter Street, Trent West, Shane Mumford, Nathan Vardy, Mitch Clark, Reece Stanley, and Zach Smith. Now, apart from Mumford, who played his best footy after leaving the Cats, the rest have either been really injury prone or just not up to AFL standard. Now, Abbott and Radaglia, they're too young to pass comment on at this stage, although I think both look promising. Now, I love Stephen Wells. He's been masterful with his lower draft selections, and especially with the lower picks, because they're always tough. However, he's failed miserably when bringing ruckman to the club. Now, as I said earlier, most premiership teams have a good to great ruckman, and until the Cats remedy this deficiency, we're going to struggle in September. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, it's a massive problem. I think that just touching on our past ruckman, we made a poor call going with Mark Blake over Shane Mumford.
Yep.
That happens. And I think that Vardy hadn't been cut down by injuries. I'm pretty sure he's still on West Coast list, but
he's injured again.
Yeah. If he hadn't been cut down by injuries, I think he could have been anything.
Yep.
So we're a bit unlucky there. But at the minute, our two ruckmen, now I've changed my view on this a little bit over the last couple of weeks. I was always play Zach Smith. At least he's a proper ruckman. And I always had my concerns about Reece Stanley and how hard he goes for the ball. But watching Zach Smith get pushed around by the better ruckman in the competition the last couple of weeks, I think that Stanley's a better option out of the two because at least he's mobile and he gets forward and takes marks. But I don't know what to do. I don't think either of them are up to it. I don't think the coach thinks either of them are up to it. That's why he keeps chopping and changing. Yeah. But at some point, you've got to pull the trigger and bring someone else in. I mean, Radaglia is not going to be a ruckman. He's going to be a forward, but he's just big enough to finish with the ruck. So I really don't know the answer to that one, other than throwing in a young player and seeing how they go. They can't really do any worse than what Zach Smith is. I mean, playing Dangerfield in the ruck was deplorable.
Yeah, I've got my thoughts on that with Danger in the ruck. But first, I agree with that. But first of all, I think that we've chopped and changed the ruckman every second or third week, and it's time to give one of those guys, 3 or 4 games in a row. Stanley's had that opportunity. It's time to give Zach Smith. So I'm prepared to give him another 2 weeks before I'll start laying into him. It's quite difficult when you're in and out of the side. So I think we persist with him for another couple of weeks. As it goes for Danger, I think that was good thinking by Chris Scott to do that. We've seen Richmond do it successfully with Sean Grigg. Now, Danger might not have been the right selection for it, and obviously it didn't work. But something needed to be done because we were getting slaughtered, and to put that extra midfielder on the ground, which is what we were trying to do, obviously, was just trying to outnumber their smaller guys on the ground. Now, Bell Chambers really just hit it where he wanted when Danger was on him, so it didn't work. But I like the thinking of Chris Scott for doing that. It shows that he's not scared to try things when things aren't working. And then after half time, he made the correction and put Blitzarves in, and he can do that role of the extra midfielder on the ground too. So, he made a couple of attempts because he saw it wasn't working. But overall, I think that we persist with Smith for another couple of weeks. If Abbott continues with his form, which I'm told that he's going really well, I haven't seen him play. So on what I've been told, but the reports are that he's playing really well. He's just a little bit off AFL standard, that maybe his body shape, I'm not too sure. But I think we stick with Zach Smith for the next 2 games. And if he goes all right, and it's a big challenge this week when he's going to be playing on Cruiser, so that'll be a big test. Yeah,
I think that I've got no problem with him using a midfielder as a ruckman. I mean, like Richmond proved it can be done, but Grigg is quite big, and he's not a Rolls Royce like Dangerfield. So I think you're right. It's the player selection that we use for that role, and Blitzer is probably a good option. But I've loved his year so far down back. So
Yeah.
it's a tough one because he's been playing so well down back. I don't really want to move him out of there. You know, he needs to learn it. He's been playing out everywhere for his whole career.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment as well. I just think with Taylor coming back, it gives us that flexibility to move blitz halves around a little bit more. You know, we don't even have to talk about it if these two ruckmen go okay. So he leaves Smith in, he gets back up from Radicalea this week, hopefully, and then that problem's solved.
Yeah.
But yeah, right, well, so move on and let's have a talk about our changes for this week. What are your thoughts?
Well, I read on the AFL website that Jermaine Jones is going to play. I don't know anything about him, but apparently he's going to play. So, yeah, I don't even know what kind of player he is. So hopefully you know. So I'll leave that one up to you. But I'd try and, like I said before, I'd try and rush Scooter back.
Yep.
And I think Radicalea walks back onto the team if he's fit.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's out, really.
You're not too sure for out. Oh, it's for me, Scoot. If Parfitt's available, there's a question mark over him. So if he comes straight back in, but I'm just going to assume that he's not for my selection. So bring in Scooter, the big Sav, and to come in as well. He was just spelled for a bit of a rest from the senior, so he deserves to come straight back in. My outs, Murdoch's been serviceable defensively. I like his big body and the way he tackles. However, his attacking output needs to increase. It hasn't been up to standard, so I like to see a bit more run and dash from him, and to do that in the twos. George Hall and Smith out for Scooter as our premier defensive midfielder, and I think Parsons needs to spell in the twos as well. He'll be okay long term. I'm not bashing him at all. Just think he lacks a little bit of poise and composure at the moment, and a game or two at VFL level is all we need, and he'll be back up for consideration.
The other one that could do with a spell in the twos is probably Cunico.
I think he's been really good. He's quick. He's got good use by foot. I think he uses the ball really well.
Enough of it yet, man. I'm with you. I think he's going to be a good player, but I don't think he's getting enough of it at the minute. And I think that he could use some confidence in the twos. Yeah,
and you may be right too. I like him. One of the things I think I said was a bit of stability as well. And you know, if we're making 4 or 5 changes every week, so yeah, maybe he can't. Maybe he goes out and Jermaine Jones come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know anything about Jermaine Jones?
No, I think he's a mid forward. I think. I mean, he's had a good last few weeks. We read the same article as you. I haven't seen any of the VFL footy. Yeah. Okay, cool, mate. And what's your tip for the weekend?
Do I risk making an ass of myself again? Because I really do think that we're going to come back strong. You know, we haven't played Carlton down at Geelong since '97, I think. I read.
Yeah, 20 years. 20 years.
It's cool. It's awesome that, you know, these big games are starting to get moved down here. We had a final a couple of years ago, and now we've got this. So I think that we played Geelong amazingly. We choked teams, you know, skinny ground. I think we'll do them pretty easily. I think we'll do them by 6 or 7 goals. Yeah,
for me, no Cripps. He's out. That's the sealer. So Cats midfield been under. Yep.
Oh, and Murphy's out too, I think.
Oh, he's under a cloud, so we'll find out that later.
That's awesome.
But, so the midfield, you've got no excuse this week. And if they don't dominate these inexperienced blokes, there's serious questions over our midfield after this. So I'm not expecting that to be the case. I think that Danger and Seld was good last week. I expect him to be good again. And Duncan and Kelly was a little bit down. I can't see him playing 2 bad games in a row. So, midfield should be too good for them. And we should win comfortably by 43 points.
43, that's very exact.
Yeah, 43. Put my line out. 7 goals on.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks, Luke. And thanks to all those watching and listening.
Thanks,
we'll be back soon.
We'll be commenting on our posts and stuff as well. It's really awesome.
Yeah. The more the better.
Yeah.
We really like it. And if you've got anything to add or any feedback for us, we much appreciate it. So we're going to be back soon for another episode of The Scratching Post. So please give the Facebook page a like and share with your friends, family, and fellow Cat supporters. we love getting the feedback. So if there is anything you do want us to talk about, drop a comment and we'll address the issue. So thanks again. See you soon and go Cats.
Go Cats.